Hello, and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. A new internal memo from the acting director of ICE outlines a quietly aggressive escalation in the U.S. deportation strategy, one that includes removing individuals not just to their countries of origin, but to entirely different nations deemed safe or willing to accept them, often with as little as 6 hours' notice. This marks a significant shift from previous practices and was quickly confirmed in a weekend interview by Homeland Security Secretary. Speaking on Fox News Sunday, she explained that if other countries weren't taking back their own nationals, the administration was working with alternative nations that had shown openness to it, as she called it, to hospitality. That word hospitality is what stops this conversation cold. Let's start with Panama. There, migrants had been housed in hotels and remote detention style facilities near the Darien Gap. Some were flown in under secrecy, unable to contact legal representation or even communicate with families. While the U.S. describes Panama's role as a form of temporary acceptance, reports show these individuals are often held in harsh conditions with little clarity about their future. Their legal standing is uncertain, and many are simply released weeks later with no structured path forward, creating a dangerous and dehumanizing limbo. In Costa Rica, a similar story unfolds. Migrants were transferred to holding centers near the Panama border, including entire families and children. They were visibly shaken, exhausted, and denied access to communication tools or attorneys. Some were held for several weeks before Costa Rican court intervened, ordering their release and demanding legal support. Though Costa Rica didn't eventually step in to offer basic services, the migrants first experienced what was not called welcome and were placed in detention, confusion, and with emotional stress. South Sudan represents an even more alarming situation. 8 men were recently deported there despite most having no ties to the country whatsoever. Upon arrival, U.S. authorities admitted that they didn't know exactly where these men were being taken or what would happen to them. South Sudan officials vaguely claimed the individuals were in the government's care, but South Sudan is an active conflict zone where government control is shaky at best, and where humanitarian organizations have long warned of widespread human rights abuses. Calling this agreement hospitality stretches the term beyond its meaning. Then there's Libya. Though the U.S. has discussed using Libya as a detention for deportees, the Libyan government denies any formal agreement. Still, migrants have found themselves bundled into militia-run camps, places not governed by laws but by profit and cruelty. These facilities have a global reputation for abuse, including physical intimidation, forced labor, personal violations committed against those of the female persuasion, and extortion. If deporting someone to a site known for exploitation and trafficking rings counts as hospitality in this administration's lexicon, we need to re-examine more than just the policy. Other countries like El Salvador, Rwanda, Colombia have also been floated in this plan with mixed and often unverified levels of participation. Some, like Colombia, initially refused to cooperate with explicit guarantees and conditions. Others appear to have accepted individuals quietly without publicizing the terms of those transfers. But across all these regions, there is a recurring theme: secrecy, instability, and a lack of legal transparency. So, what does hospitality really mean in this context? It doesn't mean safety. It doesn't mean shelter. It doesn't mean acknowledgement. It means placing vulnerable people in holding patterns, shipping them off to places they've never lived, and relying on the world to look the other way. It is a distortion of language, an intentional softening of a brutal process. The administration can dress it up however they like, but no amount of wordplay can make cages feel like comfort or silence look like welcome. Today's sources for our podcast come from Washington Post report on third country deportations, Reuters coverage on deportation strategy, The Guardian's report on deportations to South Sudan. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.